And welcome back to my channel. I'm Izzy, and in today's video I will be doing some baking. Today I'll be baking gingerbread, which is a family recipe that we do traditionally every year, and we do it with my brother and my friends. But because of COVID, I'm doing it on my own for you guys, so you can follow the recipe at home. And if you try out this recipe, don't forget to send in pictures so I can see and repost and stuff. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss Christmas videos like these. So to make 100 pieces of gingerbread, you will need butter, syrup, brown sugar, single cream, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, bicarbonate of soda and flour. First thing you need to do is measure 150 grams of butter and 1.5 small cups of syrup, which you will melt in a pan and mix together thoroughly. Now you need to measure 100 grams of brown sugar. Now once you've measured it, you need to put it in the mixture with the butter and the syrup and then mix thoroughly into it. Fully blended in. And if you could smell this right now, if you had smell-o-vision, oh my goodness, it smells so amazing. It's like Christmas heaven. So the next step is to get your single cream and pour it in a tiny little cup like this. So the next step in the recipe is to take 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon to put into your pan with all the other ingredients and then mix thoroughly. Again, it's better to do this over the hob so you don't spill it everywhere like I would usually. The next part of the recipe is to take 2 teaspoons of ground cloves and then 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, and then you mix thoroughly after you've done all of that. So again, I'm just going to put this over the hob so that it doesn't spill. So now that that mixture is all nicely mixed in together, you can move it off the hob and take it to a cool place for at least half an hour to let the mixture cool down before you move on to the next step, which is the flour and bicarbonate of soda. So now that your mixture is all cooled down, you need to measure out 425 roughly grams of self-raising flour and a tablespoon of bicarbonate of soda, and you mix that together and then put it in the mixture as well. Now you're going to pour in the flour and bicarbonate of soda into the mixture, and you just stir it, and it's going to be quite hard because it's quite thick, so you only put a little bit of flour in at a time and you mix after you put a little bit in so that it's not really hard to mix, very thick in texture. So once you've got this in a nice thick, kind of doughy, bit gross looking texture, then you get the last bit of flour and you knead it together with your hand outside the pan. So that makes it a dough shape which you'll use the next day when you leave it overnight to roll it out and make the gingerbread. So what you want to do, you want to get a remainder of flour and spread it out on the table so that dough doesn't stick to it. So now you're going to knead the dough together with the flour so that you make it less wet and more dry, so that it forms more of a dough texture. You're basically going to knead it. So when you need to push it together and then you turn it over. I'm not actually, a very experienced baker, so if this doesn't turn out good, then at least it's a video for you to watch, isn't it? So you put more flour on it, you push it together, and then you turn it, and then so once you've kneaded it together, it should look like a circle shape. And once you've done that, you put it into a bowl. And you leave it in a fridge overnight for it to cool and form a dough, which will then roll up the next morning. So once you put the dough in the bowl, you get a bit of cling film, and you put the cling film over the bowl, which then put it in the fridge overnight, and then we'll start again. So now the next day, I need you to take your dough out of the fridge. For rolling out the dough, you need to have a rolling pin. You need to have some cookie cutters. I've got some Christmas tree ones, angels, bells, and some flour so that the dough doesn't stick to the flat surface that you're rolling it out on. Before you roll out the dough, it's important that you line your baking tray, get a bit of olive oil and some foil. You put it through the baking tray so that the dough doesn't stick to the tray when it's baking in the oven. So once you've taken the dough out of the bowl, you cut it in half like this, and you put some flour on top of your flat surface. Then you need to mould the dough into this kind of square shape. It's kind of difficult because it's kind of very thick in texture and very cold from putting it in the fridge, so you need to make sure that you put a lot of force into it. You begin to roll it out with a rolling pin, like this. When you're cutting out the shape, sometimes it might take you a really long time, and sometimes they crack, sometimes they break. So what you do with that is you just put it into a new dough and you reuse it to make even more gingerbread. So for the cutting out the dough, you need to repeat that process at least a few times, depending how many gingerbread cookies you want, and just reuse the dough that you used. Once you put the gingerbread on the baking tray, put it in the fan of the oven, 200 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes. So now it's on to the fun part, which is decorating the gingerbread. So for this, what you need your gingerbread on a plate. You'll need some icing. You could make your own icing, but I just haven't done that today. I'm no artist either, so any of you experienced bakers out there, please don't judge. Here are the ones that I've done so far. I've done some pink icing, hearts, angels, bells. I've also done a lot of like the red kind of blotches on the bells and the Christmas tree and the outlines and stuff. Obviously they're not going to look perfect. So the best part about actually making the gingerbread, as well as it looking very pretty on display, is actually getting to eat it. Let's see if what I've done is actually edible. They're so good. I mean, you guys need to try this for yourself because these taste amazing. And that's basically everything. You've made gingerbread, I've tasted it, all good. Don't forget to try the recipe at home. I will link the recipe in the description box so you can follow along. Send me in your pictures on social media, tag me, and so I can see what wonderful creations you make, and you might be able to even make something even better than what these look like. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my video, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time for a brand new singing cover. Bye!